हाय सो वेलकम टू दिस लर्नर्स एडिशन। सो यहाँ पे इस वीडियो में हम एक पर्टिकुलर कॉन्सेप्ट को यूज़ करेंगे और हम देखेंगे कि दिस वीडियो इज़ प्योरली मेंट फॉर पीपल हु डोंट हैव टाइम। और इसका पार्ट 1 वर्जन आपको अपर राइट हैंड कॉर्नर में मिल जाएगी, जहाँ पे हम कुछ बेसिक स्ट्रैटेजीज यूज़ करके एक लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टर्स और फॉर पीपल हु हैव अ डेली जॉब एंड दे आर नॉट एक्टिवली पार्टिसिपेटिंग इन द मार्केट ऑन अ डेली बेसिस। तो हमारा ये वीडियो का मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव वही है कि how to help them and how to tell them of there are few red flags जिसको अगर वो थोड़ी सी अगर फॉलो करे, which takes just 5 minutes per week, and then you would be able to still be in the game and still be in the part of stock market, and still you would be able to get some good returns. Of course, this is not for day-to-day traders or people who are very much active. Agar aap wo ho, so this video is not meant for you. So in this video I'm going to talk about one particular moving average, and this is not a new thing, the whole market knows about it, and that's 200 frame moving average. मैं जब भी कोई पर्टिकुलर स्क्रिप्ट को ऑन अ डेली बेसिस, ऑन अ आवरली बेसिस, ऑन अ 5 मिनट चार्ट, 15 मिनट चार्ट, जब भी मैं इसको लॉन्ग या शॉर्ट करने की सोच करता हूँ, सो देयर आर टू थिंग्स विच आई ऑलवेज कंसिडर. And the one of the most important thing for me is the moving average of a simple moving average of a time period of 200. And the other thing is something which I think should not be a part of this video, because this video is mainly for newly experienced and new traders. So अगर कोई भी स्क्रिप्ट आपको 200 SMA अगर उसके ऊपर है, so you can say the script is strong and at least it has a viability of going forward. और अगर वो 200 SMA के नीचे है, so basically the script is short, or rather the script is not is weak, and going forward the weakness may well continue, right? और इसी strategy को use करके we are going to find out the stocks, and we are going to find out how it actually works. So if we see, so I have actually plotted an SMA on crude futures. So यहाँ पे you will see, so first for example, say for example अगर हम say we go for HDFC Bank. Many a times people ask me that HDFC Bank, should I be putting it in my long-term portfolio, say for example, right? And they ask this questions that should I do this for particular company XYZ. और इसका मैं एक ही चीज़ दिखाना चाहता हूँ कि if you look into this SMA, we are, so of course we are going to look for a weekly. From a monthly perspective, you won't have that much amount of data, because a 200 SMA would actually mean that it has been trading at least for 200 months, which is a long time, right? As a result of which, अगर हम weekly chart किसी भी stocks का खोलते हैं और किसी भी stock की खोलते हैं, so here you can see that for a company like HDFC Bank, the last time it was in 2009. That it was in a 200 SMA, and then you can see how this particular stock actually performed, right? So, and it was never even close. So there was this one particular instance where it actually came very near to it's 200 SMA, and then of course we have to forget these times, because these are corona times, so these are just a blip, and that should not we should not be considering this particular structure. So here you can see that this is exactly the kind of strength, the momentum which you see has been ongoing since decades, right? And this should be a number one criteria for me when I'm trying to do an investment, of understanding of whether a stock over a very long period of time was able to sustain over its 200 SMA, right? And another very common example would be, say, for example, ITC, right? So people ask me ITC में हम लॉन्ग पोजीशन लेके बैठे हैं, and what is the way out. So here you can see that the structure which we saw in HDFC Bank, and you can compare it with ITC. So ITC has been on multiple occasions, you can see from here and from here and again from here. Now I think this is 2020. No matter what, here you can see that ITC is one of the stocks जो पहले भी कई instances में अपने 200 SMA को टच करके it was actually consolidating over there. And so I think for a very novice and for a very quick learner, or for someone who is very new to the market, just do this particular analysis, and this will actually weed out all the losers, and then you would be much more accustomed to be with the winners. Because जो stock में strength होती है over a long period of time, over so many multiple weeks, so that stock is not going to break very easily. And of course अगर जब ये break करती है, as you can see, this broke in 2019 August itself, right? So as a result of which, you can see after that what happened is, and it's still, as of today, it's still below it's 200 SMA, and these are exactly the reason why you see that there is absolutely no strength in these particular counters, because it will just keep on consolidating, moving up and down. But the moment it would be able to cross this particular, say for example 240, right, so then it would become very much of interest to long-term investors. So here also you can see it was consolidating for few weeks, and here also you can see it was consolidating for few weeks. But from there you can see once it was able to move up, it gave a huge investment return. And अभी हम लोग जब डेली ट्रेड करते हैं, so of course we are monitoring this on a much smaller time scheme, so we are able to adjust and move forward. But अगर आप ऐसे हो कि अगर आपको एक long term perspective देखनी है, so basically you can use the 200 SMA for all your particular purposes, right? So just for example, let's look into another few of the other companies. Say for example, right, so I ask you a very simple question. You have Shriram Transport Finance, and you have Muthoot Finance. Now of course for example, let's go for Bajaj Finance, say for example, right? It's at an all-time high, and here you can see, right, and this stock since last 2013 onwards ye jo aayi hai, and this was because of corona. Of course you have to forget corona, it's just a very anomaly, and so this should not judge yours. But lekin agar aap dekho that Bajaj Finance, why it was such a huge good investment is, and why it is at all-time high, is because since over here you can see it was 2009. So since 2009 it has never actually went towards its 200 SMA. और ये जो depth होती है, that's a difference between the weekly close between SMA, this this kept on increasing, and you can easily see that here. If we draw a line, and this actually is a very good parameter to find all the winning stocks, and maybe going forward you would then be able to find some companies जो अभी इस stage में है, and going forward this can give you a huge return. Of course you can see it was trading at 150 over here, and right now it's at 7500 levels. And so the structure was very simple, the investment time is very simple. You just have to find stocks jo over a long period of time was able to maintain its 200 week 200 SMA on a weekly chart, and if you are sticking with those, and also it might happen that tomorrow going forward there are some more disruptions, just like we had in corona, or maybe in 2008 levels also there was a disruption. So here you can see in 2008 it was for a huge period of time it was under its 200 SMA, right? So these are it was the last time, and then again it came towards 200 SMA in corona. So it's just this worldly events which happen once in every 10 years. This will only be able to affect the script, and after that you can see the amount of run it has. And maybe many a times long-term investors are going to say, okay, we have got a huge return from corona times, but again you can see that you are actually missing out whole of this particular run, which was huge from a 40 times perspective. And this is exactly what long-term investors do need, right? So going forward, let's do a quick analysis. So we have two companies which are not near all-time highs right now, say Muthoot Finance and Manappuram Finance and Shriram Transport Finance. Say for example, ये तीन companies हैं और मुझे कुछ पैसा डालना है. I like the sector. I like the way these three companies are going forward. One of the very important strategies or interest boarding strategies which normally people do employ is they actually or even Chola Finance. So ये चार companies हैं, they are all good companies. अगर आप fundamental analysis करते हो, so you will find out that okay, maybe one is better than the other. But let's say ये चार companies है और मुझे पैसा invest करना है. So how to move forward, right? So the very first thing is I will open a chart for Chola Mangalam, that's a Chola Fin, and here also we will try to see that how this company has acted. So this was again the blip in 2008, and after that you can see that this stock was always able to stay away from us 200 SMA, and then it started coming towards a 200 SMA in 2019 itself. So this actually signifies that this particular stock has some particular inherent weaknesses. Now of course going forward, this particular fall came, this is because of corona, but let's forget that. But at least हम ये बोल सकते हैं कि during the times of 2019 this stock came near SMA. Now let's see Transport Finance. So here you can see, so अगर आप चोला फिन और श्रीराम ट्रांसपोर्ट फाइनेंस में अगर आप कंपैरिजन करें, here you can see on multiple occasions 2009, 11, 15. So both of these stocks are somewhat near to its all-time high, but you can see from a technical perspective, अगर मुझे इन दोनों कंपनीज में से किसी एक कंपनी को चुनना होगा, so obviously I will go for Chola Fin Finance, right? Now let's look for Muthoot Finance, say for example here. So you can see that why Muthoot is such a wonderful structure, that even during it was only during corona it came, and then from 2016 onwards, of course it was not there in 2008 and earlier times, say for example, so maybe, but here you can see a clear-cut winner in Muthoot Finance. And let's have a look for Manappuram Finance. Right here you can see that from start itself it was on a downtrend, and then from 2015-17 onwards it gave a good run. Then again on 2019 it came over here, and again during corona, and now again it's at 163, whereas 200 SMA is at 133. So just by a simple analysis you can see that for a long-term investor is so simple to have this simple strategy without using any indicator, without going for the news flow or anything. अगर आपको ये चार कंपनीज में से किसी एक में अगर पैसा लगाना है, so obviously Muthoot is the winner. अगर दो में लगाना है तो Muthoot and Chola are the winner. And I would suggest that you can use this particular strategy, and you can be with the bull run, and you are definitely going to win big. For companies like, say for example, State Bank of India, right? So here also you can see that if you compare, so from a money perspective, what's important for you is to be in a sector or in a particular company which has a good prospects, just like State Bank of India. And also you have to be sure that you don't own State Bank of India or you don't own HDFC Bank. What you want to do is you want to just see your money grow. It really doesn't matter कि वो स्टेट बैंक में लगाया हो या HDFC बैंक में लगाया हो या ICICI बैंक में लगाया हो, right? So that becomes totally irrelevant. Say for example we want to make a comparison, so just before we move out, so in 2008, and then you can see multiple times it has been a laggard, it has been below its 200 SMA, and also during corona times, but before that also in 2016, in 2013. So basically from investment perspective you can see that this is not so we understood this, right? Now let's compare this with say, and though it's very near to its all-time high, still you can see that from a strength perspective you already got an idea of how many times it was near its SMA, and near its validate, and violating its SMA on multiple occasions. Say for example over here, and these were in 2015, 2013, 2011, right? Now if you compare this with say Axis Bank, say for example, right? So here also you can see that on year 2008, and after that there was a downturn in 2013, and so multiple times the Axis Bank is also able to come towards its 200 SMA. And then again, this is Corona times, but from a investment perspective, say for example, at least it was unlike State Bank of India. It was at least on multiple occasions, it didn't dip much from and deviate much from its 200 SMA. So अगर आज मुझे कोई बोले कि I want to invest, say for example, and I want to be with a particular company, so we saw how State Bank of India has worked, and of course I can take Canara Bank, but those will be much worse, so there is no point of looking into it. But we can look, say for example, at ICICI Bank, and of course many a times these things would happen because of the news flow. But here also you can see that every time in 2008, of course this is a financial crisis, but other than that, whenever it came towards this 200 SMA, it was always able to take some support, and immediately was able to within few weeks, say for example over here, it was able to move forward. और जब ये 200 SMA से अगर move करती है, and so here you can see this is able to give you a good return. Similarly, if you look for any company like Sun Pharma, and again on the weak side, so here you can see this company had weakness since 2016 onwards, because that was the time it went towards its it went below its 200 SMA, and below that and above that you can see that since 2002 it was actually able to move forward, and here it was able to give you a very good return, because one of the main criteria is which all companies, even with huge amount of just like 2008 May, still Sun Pharma was not able to go below this levels. And here you can see the particular return which you saw, where compared that to companies like State Bank of India or ICICI Bank. So many a times people, you as an investor, you have to look into the absolute return which you are going to get. So agar koi company even in the financial crisis was able to maintain its levels of 200 SMA, so that actually signifies as this much a strong candidate. And this is exactly why ITC is not actually a good investment strategy, no matter what experts say. क्योंकि अगर आप कंपेयर करो से वे बैक इन 2008, if you look at it was at 120, 130, so near about you got a 10 times return way back in 2015. Whereas अगर आप ICICI Bank से कंपेयर करो, so in 2008-9 it was at 139, and it went towards 550, say for example 2019 mein. So you just got a mere 4 times or 5 times return, whereas you can see in 2015 itself you got a huge return from Sun Pharma. And this is exactly the strategy which I'm trying to say. For us, it doesn't matter whether we are investing money, and of course I'm pretty sure way back then सबने बोला था कि ICICI Bank at these levels are like gold and diamonds forever and whatever. And of course over a period of time it has generated 5 times wealth. But if you compare that with say Sun Pharma, for example, which was able to hold its 200 SMA and never dipped below it in such a financial crisis, so I think this will actually be a strength and be a actually trait of a winner. And going forward, these would act like a very good wealth generator. I want to end this video with this particular notion. Hope this video is going to help you in understanding my psychology. So here also you can see that if you look for winners like TCS, so in 2008 and 9 it was in the down. So again agar hum tab TCS mein paisa lagate, so this would have been sort of investing at 300 levels, and it went to 1400 over here, right? So 1400 or 300 is just like 4 times. Whereas compare that with SMA, compare that with Sun Pharma, which was able to hold the levels of SMA 200 even in the financial crisis. So I hope I was able to make my point, and similarly going forward there will be new disruptions, either company wise, sector wise, or market wise. So always do remember this particular concept if you are on a long term investor perspective. Similarly here you can see way back in March I tweeted about how I am going to invest huge amount of money in IT sector, and वो tweet मैंने 13th March को किया था, और on in 2020, and the particular reason for this is even with such a huge drop down you can see on a weekly basis, TCS didn't break, as a result of which it showcased that there are a lot of interest and buyers over here. And of course over a period of time we know how it was able to give you a good return, and especially you have to consider that and today also it's at all-time high, and also you have to consider the very basic fact that the reason it was able to give you a return, that even with such a huge downturn, even this particular company was never breaching its 200 SMA. So this going forward is one of the leaders going forward. Of course IT sector में TCS में कोई whistle blow होगा, IT में huge headwinds will come, there will be some very big negative news on the TCS. So from an investor perspective, you always should have some time, and you should be looking into this particular trade of this particular company over so many particular decades of investing, and then you will be able to find out winners. Once you find out the winners, then it's then we will discuss the next strategy of how to invest. But at least at the end of the day, this the whole motive of this video, इस वीडियो की एक ही मोटिव थी कि आपको जब भी कोई 3-4 कंपनीज में कंपैरिजन करके अगर आपको सेम बिजनेस में अगर आपको पैसा लगाना है, so how you would able to find it out. I want to add, I want to say one of the very upcoming sectors, and I am very bullish about it, is paints. And going forward, I think this is going to be one of the top sectors which is going to give you money, and I think the bull run has just started. So similarly, if you can compare, say, Asian Paints and Berger Paints, say for example, both of them are very near its all-time highs. But here you can see Asian Paints in 2008 and 9 was able to hold the SMA, and from there, never, even during Corona times, it came near its 200 SMA. And this at least, this showcases that there's a huge buying interest, there's a huge potential, and these are actually portfolio stocks which people should be investing and should be taking into account. Let's compare this with Berger Paints, say for example, and here you will see that sorry, this is not our Berger Paint, India. Yeah. Here also you can see that Berger Paint also since long it has been able to maintain this particular 200 SMA, and it never came near 200 SMA even with Corona over here. So these actually showcases that these are the companies you want to be in, and maybe going forward you will use this strategy to find and evaluate particular companies just on a based on technical analysis, and this will also help you to create future investment opportunities for you. I want to end this video with just one particular company, Joe, just on a weekly basis it gave a very good bounce. Here you can see Hind Petro has been in on this particular, but going forward you can see that it was only on the last week closing that it was able to close above the levels of 200 SMA, and it was a good weekly close. So I think going forward agar ye if it is so it doesn't actually mean, even in the previous instances it has tried and then again it comes back, and the reason for this is it actually showcases that there is a huge amount of there's not much amount of interest till now which has generated, but again agar aap for a medium term, say for next 1 or 2 years agar aap investment dekho, so these sort of patterns are very important, where it was dancing around the 200 SMA, and then it was able to come, and once it was able to fly off, so from there you can see over a short period of time it was a good wealth generator. So agar aapki perspective koi 2-3 साल 4 साल ऐसे में हैं. सो ट्राई टू फाइंड कंपनीज लाइक दिस जो 200 SMA को इमीडिएटली ब्रेक करके एटलीस्ट यहाँ तक it was a very good structure. And because going forward, one of the very interesting things you will see is if there is no interest above SMA within 2-3-4 weeks, it will again go and try to retest, and this is exactly that type of pattern आप यहाँ पे भी देखोगे. Here you can see from 64 it went towards 122, money double हुआ, लेकिन after that it again came SMA. So ये जितने बार on a weekly chart 200 SMA के नज़दीक आएगा, that actually makes it more weaker rather than stronger. स्ट्रॉन्गर पैटर्न ऐसी होती है जो 200 SMA के नज़दीक भी ना आए. Once you are able to find such a pattern, you should ride the momentum, because going forward this is going to give you a good return in the medium term perspective. So this was one of the companies, and the second company which I wanted to show you is Orofarma. So here Orofarma was, you can see it was dancing. So यहाँ से अच्छी एक move आई. Then again it came towards the multiple times it comes towards this particular SMA is it actually makes weaker. So I would suggest that you should not be considering these particular ups and downs, but rather you should be seeing on a investment basis of how the stock was able to bounce off, and when this particular width difference between the closing weekly close and SMA starts increasing, that's exactly the time when you should be entering. Of course, you can see from here also it was increasing, but then it was this particular week when there was a drop down, it actually invalidated the whole of this move, which came from say 2009 till 2011. ये जो 2 साल की move थी, this was not a big move, and the reason for this is we already saw that it was below is 200 SMA. कोई भी कंपनी जब 200 SMA के नीचे जाती है, so this will actually struggle to move up and high. Of course you will get 1 or 2 times return, 3 times return, but अगर आप 10 times, 15 times, 25 times देखते हो, so that will take time. Here you can see that as this particular structure got validated, that the difference between these two are moving up. So from 185 it went towards 900 points, so that's like 6-7 times a return over a period of time. And these are sort of structures जिसमें आप अपना without any huge time, you can still play this bull run. Then what happened is, you can see multiple times it came on this particular level and support in 2017. These are maybe based on some particular newses, and so you can see that multiple times it came and support came, and then again on a weekly close agar aap dekho, so there was absolutely no difference, as a result of which it was never able to fly off from this particular zone. And then when the weekly close came below it, so this actually is a red flag, and then when there's a follow-up, you can see this fall came, and this fall actually came in 2019 itself. So this fall was because of corona, but ये जो fall आई है, this actually showcases that Orofarma is definitely not one of the companies जिसमें आप पैसा लगाना चाहेंगे, क्योंकि multiple times ये 200 SMA के नज़दीक ही घूम रही है, and this will give you on a luck basis will give you a good return of 2-3% as you can see, but definitely it won't be one of the stocks जिसमें you just invest the money and you forget. So you can see that from here, you can see that in the last week it was able to get some support from 200 SMA, and the last time it was able to fly off and be a good positional trade for some time, and again it came, and the last week also it was able to get some support from 200 SMA. So maybe these two companies will give you some idea of how maybe you can start tracking these two particular companies and how over a period of few weeks how they move. Of course this closing means nothing. In the past also it has bounced off, but until and unless it's able to take off above 1000 levels, 1050 levels, there is absolutely not going to be a multi-bagger like 5 times 10 times over a period of 4-5 years from now. Thanks a lot for listening up. This video is going to give you a idea of the way you can, without asking anyone, you can find your particular stocks and you can do a easy comparison. Of course, there are a lot of other factors, but at least if you do this as a number one step to weed out the winners from the losers, this will definitely help you in the long term. Thanks a lot for listening. Bye bye. Enjoy your weekend.